recording so we can actually record. Here we go. All right. So it is March 8th, 2023. The Full Fee Agent, diving back into it. What I was thinking about, guys, and tell me, Todd and Rudy, if you like. Rudy, you can come off camera, on camera, Rudy, if you want.
No, I never, ever liked the camera. Never.
All right. Yeah. Typical special ops guy. You're probably a sniper back in the day. You're hiding there,
No,
in your ghillie suit, with the crosshairs on. You got the optics on us here. That's all right.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
living the dream.
never come off camera.
Oh no, never come on camera. I just don't like it.
Rudy's a former special forces guy. He doesn't want to be seen. It's just,
How does that work when you're trying to acquire business?
Well, switch personalities. Jekyll and Hyde. What can I say?
Rudy is the door knocking king of Clarksville, Tennessee. That's where.
God, there's so many people migrating to Tennessee from our area. I sold a house in Huntington Beach last summer, Rudy, and that's where they went. And then the whole family followed, and they're not the only ones. So
Yeah.
maybe we should have a referral relationship. Would you be opposed?
There you go. So you're from Chicago there?
No, from the beach cities of Los Angeles, Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Palos Verdes, Torrance.
Oh, okay, no wonder. Yeah, I guess a lot of California is relocating, typically out of the Bay Area. And in fact, George, I'm going to be going back again, but only for a week this time.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, only for a week this time. But business is doing great, in the meantime. But yeah, Todd, I'd be happy to set up referrals with you from Southern California.
Todd, pop your info in the chat so Rudy can get it. That'll be the best way to do it, so you guys can connect. Because Rudy, the nice thing is, Todd has clients who sell a house out in LA County, and then they can come out to Clarksville and buy 20 houses. Well, maybe not 20, but probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, let's see. And I'm going to write this down, Todd, because I'm one of those anachronisms there.
Okay.
Yeah. Old school. Yeah, you guys definitely should talk. That's good. Good stuff. All right. So anyway, I was thinking on our Full Fee Agent to sort of take it back a step. Instead of just going free form, let's pick a particular topic and or chapter and dive a little bit more deeply into it. And I thought, based on multiple conversations that I've had this week with clients, I thought we could probably benefit from discussion around chapter 2, which is the favorite or the fool, which seems to come up a lot of times. And my thinking here is that we know that right now the market is going to be tougher than it's been. We know that we're going to have more conversations. I had a conversation with a client earlier today. She said she's just making call after call after call. People are calling her, and they're all ending up with, well, we want to just wait. Clearly not the favorite, and clearly not establishing that trust and credibility on the front end. So I thought, since there's more conversations that need to be had, it only makes sense that we can sort them better and work with the elves and not the haves, if you guys remember that. All right.
Yeah.
Todd, I know you got it. The elf is
easy, lucrative, and fun.
And the half is
hard, annoying, lame sometimes lucrative, and frustrating.
Mostly frustrating. Exactly right. Yeah. So to be able to work with the elves and not the haves makes total sense. So on the favorite and the fool, let me just open it up. What are your thoughts on that, guys? On the difference between the two, and how do you determine which you are?
I can talk, but do you want to chime in? Rudy?
Go ahead, Todd.
Okay. So it's about leveling the odds at the table. They say it's a Vegas life, and not all games have the same odds in your favor. And so if you operate on, and if you recognize that no one has an open mind, no matter how much they say they do, they've already decided who is their favorite, and the rest is due diligence, and the due diligence is the fool. And so if you want to have a business where you're dealing with only elves and not halves, having an easier life, less stress, and working with only people that you want to work with, you should spend the time, the initial call, the initial Zoom, trying to determine if you're the favorite or the fool. The favorite 80% of the time, if 80% of the time you're going to get the business, and the fool, you have like a 20% chance. So could you convince somebody to do business with you that started out thinking of you as due diligence of the fool? Yes, but is that a valuable way of using your time? Probably not, because there's an abundance of business out there where you can be working with the elves and you are the favorite, and the favorites don't question how much you charge, because they trust you implicitly. And so you use proof of life questions to determine if you're the favorite or the fool in hopefully 15 to 30 minutes.
Good. Wow, what a great summary. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
And let me look on a couple of those points. I just want to dive in a little bit on those. One of the things I think that's really key here is the proverbial Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, right? And 20% of your clients bring 80% of your business. For the fool, 20% of your clients give you 80% of your headaches. And you think about the brain drain, especially in the real estate industry, especially in a tough market, how much effort and time and energy and angst that working with that person that you had to chase, convince, and close, versus how much easier it is to find the person where you're the favorite. So, yep.
Also, if you do land the 20%er, unless you've developed that empathy bond and the trust, and they've done a full conversion, they're going to be frustrating. They're going to point fingers at you when things happen within a transaction, and they're not going to refer you business and potentially be repeat.
That's the other part of it. Forget about repeat and referral business. Yeah, it's going to be a transactional type of a thing as opposed to relationships in the long term. So short-term realtors can play for the fool. If you want to build a career and really enjoy what you're doing, it's got to be the favorite, which means sometimes you just got to say no to people if it doesn't fit. The other thing you mentioned, Todd, which I think is really key to point out, is, and what they write about in the book, is that by the time you're talking to them, they've already decided, even if they've decided unconsciously. They might not even know that you're the fool or the favorite until you start probing and asking questions to discover, and let them discover. And through their language, you can determine it. And I think that's a key, because nobody's going to come out and say, well, I guess some people will, oh, we're just shopping. But you got to probe in that. It's worth a few minutes to find out. And the other thing I think, which is important, Todd, you mentioned, you really, this is a real mindset shift, isn't it?
Yes.
Favorite or fool. It's a real force yourself to come from abundance. That there's plenty of business out there. Again, let me go back to a conversation I had today. The client was telling me everybody, which I love, these universal everybody that she talked to said, I want to wait. I want to wait. I want to wait. Well, then why are we having this conversation? If they raise their hand and they're calling you and they're saying they want to wait, they're lying. You got to have the BS meter here, because if they want to wait, then well, why didn't you wait to call me? With me, I mean, they picked up the phone to call. So obviously there's an interest there. And when you're coming from lack, it's real easy to get sucked into and agree with the client's story, to be sympathetic.
Well, let me ask you this then, George.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about your client that says she's getting mostly calls where she fully understands that she's being played as the fool because they want to wait. Now, if she's getting all those calls, does she have an opportunity to turn them around, or does she just smell like a time waster? I mean, is there some kind of she's putting out this attractive waste?
That's a great question. That's a great insight. And here's where we got. If you're coming from lack and sympathy as opposed to abundance and empathy, you're going to be the fool because you're going to buy into the first thing that they tell you.
So what you're telling me is she's already assumed she's the fool.
I think so. And that was our conversation today.
Okay.
I think so.
I think there's a way with tactical empathy to probe further using
There
labels
is.
like we want to wait, and see if you can get them talking. And if you can get them talking and you understand where they're coming from, then
Mhm.
you can gently guide them to
Yes.
what they're missing. And
Yes.
if they don't get it, then it was a good gatekeeper for not wasting your time.
Yeah,
And
any further.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, 100%, Todd. And for that to happen, you got to have the mindset shift first.
agreed. And the way I heard what Todd was saying is that the first thing I would do then is to mentally walk across the street to their side of the street and look at the horizon that they're looking at, and then see where we can go from there, so I can figure out if they're a time waster or not,
Mhm.
and start asking the questions to find out if I am a fool
Right.
or the favorite.
Right.
The first step is to walk across the street.
Absolutely.
First action step, absolutely. The mindset, I believe anyway, I believe the mindset has to come first.
Okay.
With when we were reviewing the shift, our coaches went through this, I don't know, last year, I don't remember when we did, we went all the way through shift. And the question was, what's your favorite shift tactic? All right, well, I'm a performance transformational coach. For me, it was shift number 1. Get your mindset right, get right. Because everything follows after mindset. Let me give you an alternate story to this. I have another client that I spoke with this week. He's in Washington State. He worked with this client several years ago, helped her buy a house, helped her sell a house. She's a quote unquote past client. He keeps in touch with his clients. He's got good reputation. He was in touch with her. She wants to list her house. She calls him up last week and says, you know what? We're going to go with one of the Dave Ramsey agents for this. Now, the agent now has a choice between their own ears. They can go, oh, crap. Or they can say, no, I'm not going to let you do that. One is coming from lack, one is coming from abundance. So in Aubie's mind, what he said, and he didn't say this to the client, but in Aubie's mind, he goes, oh, hell no, you're not. No way. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to let you make that mistake. That was his mindset. And from that mindset, he threw out several things to the client. So when you talk to them, have them consider this, think about that. Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? And he gave her several things that positioned him as the local market expert, as the guy who really knows what he's talking about. And then ended it with giving them the chauffeur driven limo on the way home. Hey, if anything falls apart, if you need anything in the future, feel free to call me. I'm here for you. She calls him back a few days later. We decided we're not going to work with Dave Ramsey. We're going to go with you. Abundance, mindset, not selling, but positioning himself as the authority.
And it's hard to do, especially if you're behind on your goals or you haven't sold anything in a while.
Yeah, it is,
just
man.
to be in front of somebody that you think, with hope and prayer, you think you have a chance, but you're the fool. And to have that mindset and be comfortable with it, it's hard to do.
You might not be comfortable. That's the thing. I remember Muhammad Ali, like years ago, and he was talking about the mind game that he would play when he'd go into the ring. I am the greatest, sting like a butterfly, float like a bee. God has given me the best face, the prettiest face, the fastest hands, the biggest lungs, all this stuff. And he was asked about, it was probably Howard Cosell probably asked him about this. I don't even remember. But why do you do that? And his answer was, well, I'm not going to go into the ring thinking, oh, this guy's going to beat me. I'm going into the ring thinking I am the best. I am the strongest. I am the fastest. So all the bravado that he was throwing out was as much for him as it was to psych out the other guy.
It was self-talk.
Self-talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It
And
was to try and convince your subconscious that it's true.
Yeah. And then act that way. I mean, he put it up, sting like, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mean, and he was. Ali
or
was the greatest.
alternatively, what about one of Aretha Franklin's favorite things? Respect yourself.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Right.
first come from base number one is I respect myself, and let's work from there.
That's it. So they talk about in the book about chase, convince, close versus going for the favorite. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm working with another agent right now, and his whole thing is I feel like I have to convince everybody to work with me. Lack or abundance?
If you're convincing, you're losing.
Yeah, there it is.
Say more about that. How do you make that real?
people don't make their decisions based upon fact, logic, and reason. They make them based on emotion, and then they try to support it with fact, logic, and reason. So if you're trying to convince with fact, logic, and reason, you're not going to become the trusted advisor, and you're not going to create the bond that is going to get you to the trusted advisor role, and you are going to be the fool.
Okay. But when you're behind in business and it's already March and you're looking at the numbers and you know the market is weird and clients are crazy and people are scared, how do you maintain the attitude and the mindset to do it differently and risk losing that particular prospect?
It's really hard, especially if you're not talking to enough people otherwise in your business. If you don't have the prospects that for business, you could get uncomfortable, and you could decide, I'm just going to work with this half this time. I'm going to try and get them because I need the business, and so it's hard. And sometimes you'll make exceptions like that, and it usually is going to backfire, but sometimes it does.
Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what you're saying, Todd, basically is let me reframe this and or re-say it in my words, that it's okay to not go 100% into this, and it's okay to make the occasional exception so that you can get the strength to be eventually be 100% into halves or elves.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd buy
And
it.
I think there's always going to be exceptions. I think there's, you know, if you have an opportunity for a $5 million listing that might be difficult, and it seems that they're a half and not an elf, that could put you into a different stratosphere in terms of your business. So it may be worth making an exception.
It could. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess the only rule is that there's always an exception to every rule.
Yeah.
Including that one. Yeah. All right. Rudy, were you going to say something there? I saw you light up for a second. Rudy?
Comfortable with that, and the reason I would say that is, well, when you're compromising some principles there, and so where in your own mind, where do you stop? There is no stop, because if you're willing to give, compromise a little bit here, a little bit there is okay, and a little bit over there is okay. And after a while, you turn around, and over a stretch of time, you're back where you were in the first place. You haven't moved anywhere.
And that's the powerful counter argument to just saying, the heck with this, I'm going all in.
Yeah, because you have to do one or the other. Otherwise, if you accept compromise, you will always accept compromise, because that is also a way of thinking. And it's a way of living when you have principles that allow compromise. So, yeah, to me, I have to ask myself the question, well, have what I've been doing up to now got me where I want to go? obviously I need to change something, so I have to go all in on something.
Mhm,
Otherwise, I'm dealing with the same garbage I dealt with yesterday.
mhm.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it really comes down to I think it comes down to a personal, personal choice. I mean, I can see the exception part every once in a while, as long as you're cognizant and aware that this is the exception. But at the same time, Rudy, your point is really valid, because if you compromise your standards, the new performance is the new standard.
Well, you never know where to draw the line.
You never know where to draw it. Yeah. Yeah.
There is no.
So you're a fan of drawing the hard line and saying that's it.
Well, I live or die by the line.
Spoken like a true special forces guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See, and I think like with the example I gave, like the $5 million listing, if it's sellable, that gets me to a place I hadn't been before to establish a track record to go back to my standard.
Yeah, and I guess, Todd, if I lose that $5 million listing, I would say, well, I'd walk away and say, yeah, at least I was able to give him the finger walking away. Because
Yeah,
so I could say, yeah, I preserved my virginity, but I gave him the finger.
Right.
I maintained my principles. So you can look at it either way. You can look at,
Yeah. It's all personal choice. It all comes down to personal choice. And I think this way of thinking is something that's so new and revolutionary for a lot of people that it makes it tough to wrap your arms around it, wrap your head around it. Because we're so used to chase, convince, and close. We're so used to, let me convince you why I'm the best, instead of asking questions like, why me? Out of all the agents that why me? And letting them tell you. So let's use that as a segue then. What are some of the tools here for, I mean, if you want to cheat a little bit, I'm on page 56, key takeaways from the favorite or the fool.
yeah. I mean, it's going for the proof of life, so it's not a hostage situation, but it's trying to determine, is there a deal here, and is the deal with me? And so that's the only time really that a why question is appropriate, because why puts the person on the defensive immediately, but you only use why when it serves you. So out of all the great agents out there, what box did I check that you wanted to talk to me?
Great.
I think that's
Great way to phrase it.
I think that's a wonderful question.
Yeah, same question, just slightly different language. So what you've done, Todd, is you've just internalized the proof of life question. That's all. Put it in your own language, but ask the damn question. Okay. Whoops. Turn this off. And there's a couple other key takeaways in there. One of them is that you fit the profile of people they've worked with before, right? So what are some of the tactics? What are some of the questions you can ask to find out if you actually fit the profile?
So the best indicator of future decisions is past decisions, how they made their decisions.
Right.
And so, if they came to you by referral, have you ever received a referral recommendation from that person before? And how did that go? Or when you chose the last agent to work with, how did you make that choice?
How did you make that choice?
Right. And then I would ask things like, well, I like that indicator, like if the prospect keeps their cards close, then that's a good indication that I'm the fool. Or if, and I want to hear that question. Well, you tell me why I should pick you. And then to me, that's going to be an immediate red flag. And that I'm being the fool. But another question I would love to ask in there is just get to the point. Shortly after asking Todd's question of all the agents, why pick me? I would like to ask, well, is there any reason why you wouldn't hire me? And to help you sell this house or help you buy this house. So I would find out. I would ask the opposite just to see what the other side looks like. Is there a reason why they wouldn't hire me?
Yeah, when the timing is right and established and trust is established. Sure. Yeah, it's a trial close, basically. And
Right.
Well, just as
old
long,
school.
I think it depends on how it's delivered tone wise.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely has to be out of curiosity, so it doesn't sound confrontational,
Mhm,
but you can definitely phrase it and frame it that way.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that's how I would like to end the conversation. Or
Yeah,
get,
it's,
when I
that's,
get
that's
close to it.
definitely towards the back end. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what if you say to the client, why me? What out of all the agents out there, what caused you to choose me? And they say, Rudy, what did you say? Well, you tell me why I should
Yeah.
hire
Yeah.
you.
Why, you tell me why I should hire you.
Yeah. What's the response?
This is not a dog and pony show. No, the response is, well, it seems like you put a lot of importance into expertise and go quiet. It seems like you like to be dealing with straight shooters. It seems like you like somebody with a proven track record,
There you go.
and you let them talk and see what comes out. And if they don't come around to being collaborative, then you're the fool and you part in the limousine that Oprah sends.
There you go. So
Or-
basically use a label, and even if you're wrong, at least it gets them talking, which will give you the information that you're looking for, or you find out. that
Or,
And if you're wrong, they're going to correct you because they
they're gonna
can't help
correct you.
themselves.
Yeah.
right,
Oh, it's not that, it's this.
or could I ask the question, I guess bring it up front right now. Sounds like you may already have a few good agents to interview. Am I right?
Sounds like you might even have a favorite.
Yeah. And just ask them, do you have a few agents that you're going to interview? And like you said, ask if you have a favorite.
Yeah.
Clean up, I guess you can clean up that bathroom pretty quick.
But listen to the difference though, Rudy. When Tom said it, it's a downstroke.
Okay.
Right? It seems like it seems like you already have a favorite. It seems like you want to interview some other agents versus it seems like you want to interview other agents.
Yeah, I like the second way better.
Downstroke.
Right.
Downstroke. It shows confidence, poise, total control, and it's a label as opposed to a question.
Okay.
That's this, and that is a subtle difference. That's a hard one to get used to because we're so used to asking questions. The
Good
late
point.
night FM DJ voice. All right. So labels work, which leads us into number 3. Can I make an emotional connection? Is the conversation going both ways? Is it a conversational thing? Because if you're the favorite, you're going to be in a conversation. And if you're a fool, you're going to get shut down. How about mirroring? Have you guys played with mirroring yet?
Yeah.
What's happened, Todd? Have any war stories for it?
Sometimes it doesn't elicit what you're hoping for. Sometimes they just repeat back to you what you said.
In which case, what do you do?
Yeah, can you tell me more about that?
Tell me more about that. Or it seems like this is important to you. It's something like that. You can always go back to a label. Yeah.
Or go to the no oriented questions like, would you be against sharing more about that?
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So the major difference is that, at least from looking at it, I'm putting my sales manager trainer hat on. We're so used to, if the client says blah, 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 we have an answer for that objection and trial close. If I can, would you then? If we can get this done, would you move ahead? Whatever it might be. We're so used to answering the objection, and we're neglecting when we do that what they're saying up here is probably not even the reason they're saying it. There's an emotion below it that's causing the question to come out. And if you can just address the emotion, then you're into a real conversation. I'm doing this with clients, like, again, going back to earlier today. Yeah. Everybody wants to wait. Well, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Seems that you're buying into their story. That one landed. And you know when it lands? When they're dead silent for a few seconds. And the hard part of this whole deal is really watching them totally, everything, body language, eyes, everything, and staying quiet to let them process it. Because if it lands right, there's going to be silence, and they've got to go internal. And that's when you start to get to the truth. I think it's fun.
Especially if they're an analyst. They've got to have the time to think about it.
That's right. That's right. Old school was always whoever talks first loses. Stupid. That's a win-lose scenario. The reality is you ask somebody a question, give them time to process it. Be quiet. Give them the courtesy of silence. It's just hard to do.
Didn't you have an experience where somebody said, I'm not going to break the silence, but you have the deal or whatever?
Yeah. I'm not going to be the first. He actually slew a piece of paper. I'm going to buy it, but I'm not going to be the first one to talk. Okay.
You win.
You win. I had
We all
another
win.
one. I had
We all
another
win.
one years ago where I mean, I don't have a pen that looks like this anymore, but I had a cross pen. Okay, was it a cross? I don't know what it was. I don't remember, but it didn't have one of these little thingies on there. And the technique basically was to hand the order form over, press hard because you're making 5 copies in the last 2 years, and you go like this and you sort of let the pen slide off, and it always goes into the person's hand. So now they're holding the pen. So I did it with this guy. The pen slides off, bounces off the desk or the table, I guess the kitchen table, rolls onto the floor, and we're both sitting there watching it going like this. And the pen's on the floor. And we're just sitting there in silence for a few seconds. The guy says to me, I know that close, but I'm not picking up the pen. Okay, you're going to buy it? Yeah. If I get the pen, you're going to buy the knives? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, but I think, and then I'm going back like 30 plus years now. Techniques then were old. Now they're antique. That's why I think this stuff is so powerful, because it's new, it's different, and it works with the way our brains work. It's just unlearning old systems and relearning a new way to do it. But how much easier, guys, is it if you can learn tactical empathy, if you can learn labeling, if you can learn mirroring as tools, pull them out as appropriate, and not have to worry about memorizing a script?
Yeah. Well, then it feels better too. Feels more natural.
Feels more natural.
Yeah.
It's exactly like Rudy said earlier. It's easy, you're getting to their side of the street. You get to their side of the street, they feel understood. If they feel understood, you can get to that's right. If you get to that's right, you've released the oxytocin and you have this empathy bond.
That's it. It's easy. It's just not simple.
Yeah.
And it has to be constantly practiced, because the Black Swan Group will tell you they're perishable skills.
These are perishable skills. No doubt about it. And I guess the bottom line to the favorite of the fool is that it's okay to walk away. Takes some
Just
real courage.
the last impression is the lasting impression.
Yep.
Yeah.
But leave the door open, and hey, give them the keys. Give them the chauffeur driven limo home. Like we said earlier, treat them with respect.
Yeah.
So if it does come back around to you, you got it.
Or that that saying he had on page 54, where he said, it's not a sin to lose business. It's a sin to take a long time to lose business. I love that.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? You spend all this time work. That's why this, with Aubie, this person, he spent a lot of time working with her, and his immediate attitude, no, you're not going to date Ramsey. Nope, that's not going to happen. Nope, absolutely no way. Nope. I mean, that's the competitive spirit that I love, and that's abundance. It's almost making it a game. So if we can gamify this stuff, practice it in other situations where there's not money on the line or a deal on the line, start to get good at it, start to get good at mirroring, start to get good at the cold reads, start to get good at tactical empathy, start to get good at the labeling. Then when you need it, it's going to be easier.
Yep, practice in a low stakes environment.
Absolutely. Which
They
is
always
great.
use the example of the hotel getting the free upgrade.
Yeah. And role playing, skill practice with somebody, to just to get used to saying it in a real estate situation without any money on the line. Why not? It'll blow your role play partner's mind when you're not answering an objection. It'll freak them out. Seems like you're concerned about interest rates. Well, yeah, sounds like you're not really serious about providing a home for your family.
Nah, no. That's punch him in the face.
I just wanted to end it. I just wanted to end it with something. All right, there we go. All right, cool. All right, gentlemen, we promised 45 minutes. It's 5:45 my time. I very much appreciate both of you being here. Rudy, thank you very much, sir. The anonymous Rudy Valerie in his ghillie suit, perfectly black. I
Thank
feel
you.
a little bit better now because the optics are now off of me, I hope, anyway. All right. And Todd, as always, you're the Chris Voss guru in the group here. All right. Gentlemen,
The disciple.
I'll talk to you both soon. Thank you again very, very much. I'll have this posted up on the Facebook page shortly. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Have a nice night.
You too. Thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.